All right, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the 4th edition of the Starting Line Society. And you know who I am. I'm Paul. And that's my best buddy over there, Paul Vineyard. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Lyle Greenberg. It's a big deal, and we're excited.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
All right, so we got lots to talk about today. Obviously, we wanted to have Lyle on because when it comes to Albuquerque Dragway history, if there's something that needs to be asked or some information that needs to be brought up, I mean, even Robert and people that work on the track will reach out to Lyle and say, "Hey, what's this?" or "Who's this?" or we could call him a track historian. But I mean, it goes further than the drag strip. You know what I mean? Lots of stuff about lots of things, but when it comes to drag racing history in the state of New Mexico and just drag racing history in general, I mean, he knows pretty much everything.
Needs to write a book about it all.
Well,
yeah, well, I mean,
I don't know if I know everything, but I know a thing or two.
And of course, I'm already getting Paul just sent me a picture of the buffalo. Awesome. So I guess let's get started with the podcast tonight. I don't remember what I sent Paul as far as, I sent that to you guys, didn't I? The whole entire podcast?
Group chat with us.
Yeah, let's go back to that and figure out where we're going to start at, because, I mean, obviously there's lots of stuff. You'll have to excuse me, my attention's looking at the IHRA race from Toronto because we're watching Pro Mod right now. But 30 years in the fast lane, the origin story is we're supposed to take it back to when me and Paul were 9 years old, and there was a specific moment at the track or in the garage where the racing bug bit both of us simultaneously, but I think it was already in our bloodstream long before we ever met.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely had some moments. I think we talked about it last time. Lighting the sidewalk on fire. My dad, Mike Sherbrang, trying to troubleshoot his car, and that was a fun one. Getting a Jinger dragster back in the 90s when I was a kid, you helping out with that, helping out with Mike's, I guess, more of a top alcohol dragster.
Yeah. Well, and I think obviously our childhood. Yeah, well, the blown alcohol car. Yeah. I mean, back in the day, everybody had a top alcohol dragster, even if it was, whatever, what me and Paul are running now.
Well, but
you had to have me with a Whipple.
You got to give Sherbrang a little more credit than that, because it had a Whipple on it, so that was not an everyday type of deal.
Yeah. Right, and I think it had Hemi in it too. Yeah. Well, and I think that our childhoods can be tied directly to Lyle, because I mean, when we were kids, the Supercharged Outlaws series was, that was the pinnacle for us being at Albuquerque Dragway, because that Bob bought out the big guys, and like I said, Lyle had the funny car, the relapse car, and then Sergio Rico and Lauren Jones and Kent Knuckles and Randy Drury. I mean, we had the Taylor brothers. I mean, there was a lot of Leon Ruddock. There was lots of cool cars that used to come out here and run, and like I said, that directly ties me and Paul's childhood in with Lyle, even though I've known Lyle my entire life.
Absolutely.
So
watching those guys, those were the ones I never thought would be achievable, and then look at where we're at now, and it just blows my mind. But
right,
I did have a couple since we got Lyle here talking about 30 years ago. A couple quick stories on that one. Just one, I've told Lyle several times, but some of my fondest childhood memories were the Super Nationals car show, where his dad, Paul, would have the Amsoil booth set up, and my dad and Lyle's dad are friends way back when. I don't know exactly when that started, but a long time ago, and we'd go over there, and every time we'd be walking around from booth to booth to booth to booth, and then we'd get to that Amsoil booth, and we'd be there for like 2 hours, as they would just be catching up and having a good time, and it was still resonates with me.
That was the whole reason my dad did those shows, is so he could socialize.
Oh yeah, and I sat there and I spun the little thing with the gears to show the oil and how it would go up the gears and why Amsoil was better. And then one of my first outings.
I think I just threw that little spinny thing away last year when we were cleaning out my mom and dad's house.
Lyle, you broke his heart, dude. I'm sure that Michael would have loved to have that thing.
I would have totally put that in the shop as a keepsake.
Never even occurred to me. Sorry about that.
You destroyed it. You destroyed a childhood dream of his, Lyle. What's wrong with you? Good Lord.
Dang it.
No, the other story, one of my first memories when we moved here, going out to the Albuquerque drag strip, I think that's when Lyle had the yellow top alcohol funny car, and you were either licensing or shakedown, but like your car very distinctly, it was one of like the closest I'd really gotten to a funny car, and it was just that mind-blowing thing. And I remember my dad telling me, yeah, he's learning this car, a new car, he's, long-time driver, but this is a new car. And some of the tidbits he gave me about anytime somebody's with a new car, there's certain places you do and you don't stand, and this other stuff. But
don't stand behind it, right?
That was basically it. He's like, yeah, like I've seen cars launch backwards before because a driver messed up something with the ship door.
And I'm pretty sure that I know which time that was, because that was the first time we ever ran the car. And Albuquerque was an IHRA track at the time, and so I couldn't get my upgrade on my license. So we went out to the track, made a couple of hits, never even made a full pull, just made a couple of hits, and then towed to Roswell like a week later or something to do the license upgrade.
That's crazy. Imagine going to yeah, that's I mean just people preferring Roswell over Albuquerque. Just like I said, I mean Roswell's not a bad track. I love Roswell to death, but just hearing something like that, it's kind of you don't usually hear that. Usually people want to go to Albuquerque versus going to Roswell to license with a big car.
But it wasn't a preference deal. It was that I couldn't do the NHRA upgrade at an IHRA track, and it was hard to do. I mean, Roswell is a tough track to get down. I had to make a deal with the NHRA Division 4 director for him to relax the ET and mile-an-hour benchmarks you have to run to get the license. And then I had to talk him into letting me do it with just one top alcohol dragster driver because I couldn't get 2 top alcohol funny car drivers to come to Roswell.
Right. Well, I've heard that Tate Branch holds the track record at the current Roswell drag strip, and he went like a super low 6.0 something. I mean, yeah.
I think I can answer that question. And remember, I told you, anything you say starts a story. So I believe that Tate Branch has the ET record at Roswell at a 6:17. And the reason I think I believe that and I know that is because I was next to him in Lauren Jones's car.
Oh, right.
I drove Lauren's top alcohol funny car in a match race at Roswell against Tate in 2002, 2003, something like that, because Sean had already started driving Lauren's car, but Lauren wasn't feeling great about having Sean drive at Roswell because it's a pretty sketchy place.
Right.
And so he called me up and he said, hey, I got 2 choices. I can either convert this thing over for me to get back in the car because he's a pretty big guy, or I can just have you drive the car. You want to drive the car? So I went and drove the car, and we actually beat Tate 2 out of 3 on his home track. We actually kind of were worried about getting out of there with our lives because we kind of pissed the locals off.
Right. Well, this is the current Roswell track, not the old one where the track sits today.
This is the current Roswell track. Tate went a 6:17.
Yeah,
the best Lauren and I went with his car, I think, was like a 6:26 or something like that. But tons of stories. I mean, it was so dark down there on the last round because there were no lights past the finish line that Tate and I both stopped in the middle of the track so that we wouldn't turn in front of each other.
Right. Well, like I said, and the only reason why I'm I just can't imagine somebody running a 6:17 at Roswell with that amount of shutdown.
Actually,
Roswell's got some good shutdown.
It wasn't hard to get the car stopped. It was just freaking dark.
Right. Well, I mean, me and Paul were down at the end of the track when Gilbert wrecked his dragster, and I mean, I didn't see the car was dark and the car was black. I mean, all we saw were the car was sparks. Like we didn't even know the car was on its lid at that point in time, and then Paul saw it go by, and he's like, "Go, go, go!" And yeah, it was.
I was so out of breath running down to that car.
Yeah, we couldn't even see the car. Like all we saw were sparks. It was so dark down there. That's funny.
Well, Tate and I, like I said, we decided we were just going to stop on the track, not to risk running in front of each other. And I can distinctly remember getting the car stopped. I mean, going across the finish line, shoots out, on the brakes hard, getting stopped, and thinking, wow, I wonder where Tate is. He's not out in front of me. Where is he? I popped out of the roof hatch, slid off the right side of the body, and Tate's car was literally right next to me about 10 feet away. Neither one of us knew that each other was there.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's how Amarillo was for us with the superchargers. It just, given we were only running 8th mile and they had it lit, through the quarter, but you're still, we just lifted, I coasted through the quarter, and it just went to the abyss, and it was scary. I remember Ricky Esparza saying he was steering by feeling the dirt under his tire and like, oh, bring it back to the right a little bit, and like, okay, don't hit Paul over there. And I'm kind of blind. I see one little dot at the turnoff way, way down there, and it's just like,
I'm pretty sure that I went 235 in Lauren's car on that last run, as you say, into the abyss.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Keenan went a 438 out there. But granted, it was in the middle of the day and they only went to the 8th mile. But I couldn't imagine, being in Albuquerque my entire life and seeing how long that shutdown area is, and Bandamere and some of the tracks that I've been to, like the quarter mile to the shutdown, to the turnoff in Roswell. There's a plane down there. There's a plane at the end of the track.
Steer towards the plane.
Yeah.
Steer towards the
And I-
Can't
it's
see
funny,
it at
remember,
night.
Paul?
Yeah, I don't think it has its landing lights on.
No.
Right.
Paul, remember, the Warlord Racing 8th mile record is still at Roswell.
Yeah. No,
It's
Jeff McClure broke it last year.
But okay, not the track record, but I'm saying our personal best is still there. Now that should get shattered here as soon as we get the car going again. But
yeah. Well, that's that's a story for another time and day, I guess. We're gonna go here with Lyle for the definitive history. We're supposed to ask Lyle about the atmosphere of Albuquerque Dragway in its prime, and just the sights and the smells of what is Albuquerque Dragway today. I know it looked a lot different back, when the 70s and 80s. I mean, obviously,
I'd like to know what its prime is, because I think there's several different primes for this track. But
I would agree.
elaborate.
I agree. I agree with that. I don't know what its prime is. I mean, what I will tell you is that back in the 60s, so I've been going there since day one when the track was first built, but I don't remember anything prior to about 1966. But from 66 on, I have pretty good memories. And of course, the biggest differences between the track then and later on, facility wise, is that there was hardly any paving. I mean, almost all of the paving was just the track itself. The staging lanes weren't paved, the return road wasn't paved, nothing was paved. And then obviously the sights and the sounds of the cars were so different because literally that was back in the days when the top fuel cars smoked the tires all the way down the track.
Right.
Now, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at a mile high, there was very few of the top fuel cars that actually made enough power to smoke the tires the full quarter mile, but they sure smoke the tires a long ways. The other thing that I think is probably kind of interesting to say is that the grip at this track has never been terribly good. And so long after the slipper clutches came into play, and everywhere in the world you saw people making smokeless top fuel and funny car runs and hauling butt, nobody could do that in Albuquerque. I mean, cars were still smoking the tires here. Top fuel cars were still smoking the tires here well into the 80s because there just wasn't enough grip.
Okay. Interesting. So, I mean, there's obviously some stories that, obviously I've heard from, my dad, because he, worked out at the track for years. And I mean, you've known my dad obviously longer than you've known me. And, I'm sure that there are stories that Paul has heard, somewhere along the way, whether it's, stories about, the Little Red Wagon crashing, which, I mean, there's video of that happening, but I mean, there's lots of stories of. So it happened more than once. I wasn't aware of that. I thought so the Little Red Wagon rolled it more than once.
It did. The Little Red Wagon came here successfully in probably about 1967 and put on a great show. But then the next time he came, he ended up with the car on its side, tearing up the side of the car. And then the third time he came, he barrel rolled the thing, which is the video that you're talking about having seen. And at that point, Dale Schaefer told me that Bill Golden told him, "Man, I love your track, but no, I won't be coming back."
I don't blame him.
I can understand why.
Yep.
So one of the things that I've always been curious about, Lyle, is how the Supercharged Outlaws series, I mean, obviously it was a long time ago, but I've always wondered how that series came to be. I know it was Lauren's, little, I guess you could call it his baby, because it was super successful for a lot of years. I remember there was, anywhere between 12 and 16 cars here at regular events when Bob was doing the Supercharged Outlaws series at the track. And I was just curious how that came to be and how, like I said, it was formed and just kind of started out there.
So Lauren tends to get most of the credit and honestly deserves most of the credit. But actually, a guy from down in Las Cruces by the name of Frank Turrentine was instrumental in putting that program together. Frank was really, really part of the ground floor of that. He worked with Lauren on it. What I would tell you about that is that Lauren, more than any other person I've ever known in my entire life, was an absolute master at making sure he had a place to race. And so once he bought a top alcohol dragster and started running top alcohol dragster, he immediately knew he needed to figure out how he was going to race that car at home. And of course he did the same thing later on with the Pro Mod with the Rod series. He did the same thing with the Rod series. Again, he was a master at, hey, I've got this car. I need a place to race, so I'm going to create a series I can race it in.
Right. Well, like I said, Supercharged Outlaws, I mean, that was me and Paul's entire childhood. We used to, get down on our hands and do burnouts with our feet and race down next to Randy Drury's trailer, at the corner of the staging lanes. And I mean, it was just, I mean, that was, we had the Hot Wheels and we would, do SOS series in the hallway at my house. And, like I said, that was some of the best times of my childhood was being able to see that stuff.
And it was great. It was great racing. It was a great series. Lauren did a great job with it. I mean, I pretty much stunk at it because at that point in time, I had no idea how to make a high horsepower car go down the Albuquerque track, i.e. back to what I was saying about low grip and all that stuff. So I think I went to the semifinals once at an SOS race, but in general, I stunk.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you now hold the track record for quarter mile out there, in a piston cars.
I've improved a bit over the years.
Yes, yeah, I think you might have learned a thing or two over the years. You know what I mean?
Indeed, I did.
Yeah, me and Paul aren't that
hey,
far
by the
behind
way,
you. We're learning.
I have just another quick story. You talked about you and Paul running next to Randy's trailer and kicking up dirt and everything else. My version of that story is back in the mid 60s. My version is back in the mid 60s, my brother and I would sit behind the tower and it was very loose dirt. Today it's hard packed dirt back there, but back then it was real loose dirt. I had these we had these two plastic dragsters where they vacuum formed the rear tires to where the inside of the rear tire had ridges in it. And so we would pack dirt inside the rear tires of these dragsters and then zoom them, and the dirt would be flying out of the tires. So it looked like a top fuel car going down the track.
See, that's ingenuity, right? That's ingenuity right there. Yeah.
That's kid drag racers right there and what they do.
That sounds way cooler than the dumb stuff we were doing, Paul. Oh my God, dude. That's so funny. So, Lyle, one thing that I did want to mention was the wicked amount of success that you have had with not only the Cone Hunter Funny Car, but the car in altered trim. I mean, like I said, I mean, you've had some wild success with that car, and congratulations. I mean, the March meet, you've won Funny Car Chaos a bunch of times. You even won Funny Car Chaos in somebody else's car.
I did.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah.
Ray and Michelle Stringer were kind enough to let me drive their car at Odessa, and we won that race down in Odessa. Paul Vineyard, you were there.
Turning the wrenches for you.
Yeah, you were. And yeah, that was big time fun. In fact, I'm pretty sure when we won that race, we went a 409 in the semis, or maybe first round. First round, we went a 409, which that was probably the quickest nitro Chevy iron block ever at that time, if not pretty damn close.
I think we'd had a 407, but I can't remember. I'd be mixing up from.
No, actually, I think that was the first time the car went in the O's. I'm pretty sure. You've been that. It's been 407 since then.
Yeah, in Ennis. Yeah, I remember that.
We'll double check that one to Ray. I swear we had won a 407 because I thought you were knocking the door, and I was thinking, man, Lyle's going to take the record from Ray driving Ray's car. Like, I wonder if that's a little insult. Ray was
an insult to Andrew.
He loved it.
He was very happy. Very, very happy.
I'm sure that Ray appreciated being able to have the outside perspective of seeing the car go down the track, because he's never seen his car go down the track without him in it. You know what I mean?
Ray was tickled pink about that whole thing.
I mean, that's why he said he wanted to do it, because honestly, I was like, well, why do you want me to drive the car? You do a great job.
Right.
But the most memorable part of that deal to me is, without a doubt, 100% without a doubt, that was the happiest crew I have ever been involved with in my entire career. Those guys were over the top happy.
Yeah, I tell you what, with Scott, hey, when a win happens with the Blown Scentless team and Scotty gets everybody going, it's there is a video of Scott jumping around the starting line, jumping up on the A board on the starting line. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anybody that happy. Well, I'm not sure if you've seen the video from Fuel Altered Chaos, but a certain someone was running up and down both sides of the track with a New Mexico flag, screaming at the top.
That would be Steve Kerr. And yes, I think that Steve probably gets close, but I
There-
don't. No,
No,
I don't think he
I-
met. I don't think Bar.
It was the one running up and down with the flag.
Oh,
yeah,
I
that
thought.
was.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah, that was me. I was the one with the flag.
Well,
yeah,
I
I
s-
was.
I
Yeah,
saw a
you-
video with Steve Ferrer doing it too.
Yeah, well, I
Wow.
stole the flag from Scott's, and then at some point in time, Steve may have grabbed it from me. But I mean, like I said, we were all. I mean, you won the inaugural Fuel Ultra Chaos at Tucson. You know what I mean? New Mexico got the win in the A field.
is
So
absolutely cool as heck. And I apologize, Paul, because the video
you're
I
good.
saw it did not show you. It showed Steve. So I didn't know there was a prelude to Steve.
Well, like I said, it started with Scott. I ripped it out of his hands, and I was like, "No, my turn." And I mean, yeah, New
that's
Mexico takes the
awesome.
win. Yeah, yeah.
Going
well,
back, I was
That
100%
was pretty
sure.
cool for a fact.
I was 100% sure Lyle was going to talk about staging the car in the finals at that Odessa race and Ray's car as his most memorable thing. Because
yeah.
to me, that is one of the wildest things I've seen.
As
and
long as you bring it up, sure.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
tell
Hey,
a story.
love to
Here
hear
comes
this.
another story from Lyle, right?
Here
This
comes
one's
another
wild.
story from Lyle. So the car was hurt for the final round. Ray knew it was hurt. I knew it was hurt. And we were already thinking this is a little iffy. And then we were running
Dave, right?
Dave Gallegos. Yeah, we were running Dave
The Nitro
Gallegos in the
Clown.
final in the Nitro Clown car. And we fired, and I'd done the burnout and backed up, and they hadn't even fired. They were having trouble for some reason. They couldn't get the body down. I don't know what the deal was, but they were really, really late. And I remember, and he did a burnout. He did a short burnout. I mean, Dave was great. He didn't hold us up or anything. But I remember sitting in the car going, that thing's hurt. That other car's hurt. So I'm going to be just even that much more conservative driving the car. Well, apparently Ray thought the same thing. And so when he pulled me into the beams, he actually didn't turn the idle up the way he normally did. So the car wasn't idling. It was and only 100 RPM, 200 RPM. It doesn't take much. And so when I went to go stage the car, I brought it into the pre-stage beam, but then I pulled the fuel on, so go full pump on the fuel. Well, what happens when you make a car rich? The idle goes down. And so the idle came down a little bit more. I stepped off the clutch to roll it into the stage beam, and the car didn't move. Just flat out didn't move. And I've kind of got a little internal clock in my head that can count to 7 just automatically for the auto start. And it's sitting there, and I've got my clutch off the pedal. I've got my hand off the brake, and the car's not going anywhere. And I'm kind of counting it down in my head, and I'm going, well, shoot, we're going to have to do something here. So I grabbed a bunch of brake, and I tried to squeeze into the throttle and blip it in, and the thing goes whoop into the stage beam. And then we got a really quick tree, and I launched the thing, and it all worked out fine. I short shifted it, and because remember I was trying to be conservative, so I short shifted the thing, and may have even clicked it a little early because she was really hurt. The one of the rods and pistons on that deal did not live quite another day.
Yeah, it had already failed the leak down going into that, and that's what I came up, told Ray, and you and him go huddle, and you're like, it's the finals, so let's go.
It's the finals. You do what you got to do. But yeah, that was pretty cool. That's the first time I've ever blipped the throttle on a nitro car with the clutch out.
It caught me off guard. I'm like, what's he doing? Why isn't he moving? And all of a sudden you just whoop, and we're all like, oh, okay, something's going on here.
Yeah, car wouldn't move.
It worked, didn't it? It got it done. You know what I mean? So kudos to Lyle for taking a walk on the wild side, and hey, it might have worked, it might not have worked, but hey, you came out on the winning end of it. So I guess that's I
actually remember just as I was doing it, thinking, wow, this might end up somewhere out by the tree.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could have. Yeah. Especially when the clutch was out on the car. So, Paul, we're supposed to discuss the specific challenges of maintaining the Warlord dragster. What is the most stressful part of race day when the car is staged?
When the car is staged? Nothing when the car's staged. When it's running and we're up there, that's my zen time for me. That's when I like that pre-stage. For me, I like to do a big exhale right before I roll it in to stage it. And at that point, there is no stress. The stress is...
You just take the wheel?
Well, I close my eyes and start screaming as soon as no, man, when the car's running and it's staged, that's the happy time. The stress is getting to the track. It's loading the trailer to get to the track. You stay up late half the time. Then you get up early to go drive to the track. You're on the road for, 4 to 12 hours, depending on where you're going. You get in there, you're exhausted, you sleep, you probably wake up too early. Getting the car, once we get it up on Jackson for that first warm up and the car actually runs, there's no hiccups. Everything after that is usually pretty stress-free for me. It's the fun times. Now, I don't have a nitro car, so I don't have to do some of the thrashing that Lyle and we have to do on Ray's car, where, whoops, we just toasted a piston or something. If we heard it, we're just done. And the stress goes away in a different way. Then the dollar sign stress start coming up. But no, man, yeah, like I said, once the car's going, it's good. It's all the little things getting ready for it that people don't realize. And, yes, I've got a great crew and you guys come over and you help out quite a bit. But there's still, when you're the car owner and the shop is in your backyard, you're sweating your butt out. It's 100 degrees out here in the afternoon sometimes. And it's like, oh, I got to get this. I got to load fuel. I got to, is this done? Do I have my air compressor working? Is the generators fueled? Getting everything hooked up, hooking up to the RV, getting it just now. It's a whole process. We got the big old, the diesel pusher RV, but getting the car and trailer hooked up to that, I have to tow it out with a truck and then disconnect on the street and then bring the RV in because I can't make the turn with the truck or with the RV in the trailer. That's the stressful stuff.
Well, luckily all that's going to change soon because we'll have a new little spot to put both of those things, and it should make it a little bit easier on, the whole entire crew.
So, Paul,
there's no true winning.
I have a cliche that covers a lot of what you just said. Could any of us ever possibly have come up with anything we do that requires more infrastructure than this crap?
No. Well, that also goes to another great Lau quote of, racing is stupid. This is stupid. Obviously joking, but yeah.
No, you didn't finish the quote. You didn't finish the quote.
You're missing some of that, Paul.
I don't mean to butcher it here. Go for it.
The quote is, racing is stupid. Nitro is stupider.
Well, to quote another friend of mine, racing is stupid. Let's buy an airplane.
I may have talked about buying an airplane, but
you need to talk to me offline about that because I can tell you, not personally, but someone close to me. I can tell you a lot of stories.
Oh yeah.
And I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah. So we're supposed to get some lessons from the mentor. Obviously, we had the conversation on the last podcast that Paul was on with Ray about how the Warlord Racing program in its entirety has been a culmination of, lots of different minds, doing things and saying things that, like I said, Lyle, me, you, Paul, Ray. We've had Paul Roybal. We've all been at the shop at one point in time or another at the same time, doing stuff on the car. So like I said, it's a culmination of, some of the greatest minds in Albuquerque and New Mexico, helping and just wherever they can. I guess using your stockpile of knowledge, what is one piece of advice that you would give me and Paul better the program, knowing where it's at now, knowing how fast we've gone, knowing what our end goal is. Obviously we're making changes to the car again, and these changes should be for the better. At least I hope they are. But is there any advice that you can give me and Paul? Like I said, you've had a top dragster, you've had, a top alcohol funny car, you've got a fuel altered and funny car. Is there anything that you can tell me and Paul that might make decision making easier, or like I said, I know it's kind of an out of the blue question, but I'm sure that you've got some sort of knowledge up there.
Well, anybody that knows me knows how I have a love of data. I have a love of data analysis. I have a love of spreadsheets, and I firmly believe that there's an old cliche in racing that races are won at the shop. They're not won at the track, they're won at the shop. With preparation, with thoughtful changes to the car and everything else. My version of that is the races are won at the shop with the preparation and with the data analysis that gives you a firm game plan going into whatever you're going into. I don't show up at a race without a game plan. Literally, I will have a sheet that says, okay, here's what we're trying to do on run number 1. And if that works, here's the changes we're going to make for run number 2. But if that doesn't work, here's the changes we're going to make for run number 2, the alternative path, if you will. And for me, that works for me because I am less, you talking about stress, I'm less stressed if I've got game plans and alternative game plans and everything else, and I'm not making crap up on the fly. Now, doesn't always work out as tidy as that.
Right.
But sometimes
I mean, we've all been in that spot where, plans don't always work out, the way we want them to. I mean, obviously, Lyle's happened to you. It's happened to me and Paul. I guess it's just part of that.
It is, but what I'm
Nice.
suggesting is that you go into the day with already 2 alternative game plans if things go sour with your main game plan. And again, it's what works for me, but it works for me from the data analysis standpoint.
Hey, listen, Lyle, I don't mean
Sorry.
to interrupt the show real quick, but I see something over your shoulder that just caught my eye. What is that? Is that a model of the Cone Hunter funny car?
That is. That is.
Oh.
It is a very cool model of the. Would you like to see the model of the Cone Hunter funny car?
I would like to
Absolutely.
see that. That looks pretty freaking cool, dude. Hi, Michael.
Pardon the interruption. We got the soon to be newest.
Do you drive a
driver.
junior dragster, Michael?
Going to. Hey, you're live on YouTube, dude.
All right, so here we go.
All right, let's see.
This is a 1/24 scale model of the Cone Hunter. It is very detailed. We got all sorts of
Wicked.
stuff.
Who built that, Lyle?
The story is that the guy that lettered the Cone Hunter funny car, the 1-to-1 real size scale Cone Hunter funny car, a guy named Scott Lynch, is a very, very talented model builder. And I don't know, somewhere, I've had this, I guess, about 2 years. And he called me up one day and he says, hey, are you going to be at the shop today? And I said, yeah, I'm going to be here. Why? He says, I got something I want to bring by to you. And I'm like, I didn't have any idea. He didn't tell me he was building it. I mean, he put months and months of effort into this thing. And he showed me that. And oh my gosh, it's unbelievably cool.
It looks like he did it's a very detailed job. And I mean, me and my dad have been involved in the Albuquerque Scale Modelers Club for pretty much my entire life. So I know that, the things that can go into it. It's even got the
steering wheel.
It's even got the round steering. That's so
It's
funny.
even got the round steering wheel.
Dude, hey, when I built that car for Lexi, she immediately, I was like, hey, do you like the steering wheel? And she goes, yeah, it looks like Lyle's. I want it. And I said, all right, I'll put it in the car.
Right on.
And now
Hi,
all of
Michael.
them, Jaden wants the same
Hey,
thing.
Lyle.
That's funny. Hi, Michael. For everybody that doesn't know, that's Michael Vineyard. He just recently got himself a junior dragster for Christmas, and we're gonna go out there tomorrow, and he's gonna work on getting his license. We're gonna do some cool stuff out there tomorrow, so we're excited about that. Michael, are you excited?
Excited
Yeah,
in
he's-
camera check. Yes, he said.
Well, and Paul Vineyard, prepare yourself for a completely different approach to how you do things at the track. It's different. It's just different.
Yep. Oh yeah. Patience, and like I said, you just gotta roll with it, dude. Yeah, being a junior parent, and like I said, just being around that group, and it's gonna change your whole perspective on drag racing in general. Getting to watch your kid, start in a junior, and it makes them, I don't want to say grow up like super quick, but they definitely, they get that it's kind of hard to explain. I don't know, maybe Lyle has a word for it, but
This actually stems like a question I've, Lyle being a top level racer who also had kids that went junior. I'd like to know, what did your mentality on that go? Because like for me, I'm just about as excited probably more excited to get Michael out there. No, don't put that on there. Sorry, he's trying to show off his toys here. But to get Michael out there as I am to go get my car out there and try and get, into the 6s and be running these record speeds for me and this lifelong dream. But I'm like, man, getting my boy out there right now is meaning more to me than that. I mean, what was your take when you were going through it?
Well, I mean, it was for me too. I mean, my deal was probably a lot more complicated than most people's, in the sense that I had started both Rachel and Jennifer out in quarter midgets because they specifically said they wanted to do quarter midgets, not junior dragsters. And so we did quarter midgets, and it turns out that Jennifer, my oldest daughter, was a very, very talented oval track driver. And I was encouraged to move her along pretty quickly to mini sprints. And it became very clear to me that it was not going to be a successful situation for me to have one kid running quarter midgets and one kid running mini sprints, because they wouldn't be at the same tracks. And I didn't know how I was going to pull that off. And at the time, my business partner at the time loved drag racing, did not like circle track racing. And so he told me that if I could get Rachel headed down the junior dragster path, that he would run with her the times I was off running with Jennifer. And that was Butch Blackberg, and Butch did a fabulous job. We got Rachel in the car, and I'm going to say the first 2 years Rachel ran the car, I was probably only present for about half the races that she ran. But she did good. I mean, in 3 years of running juniors, she won like 20 races.
I think we ended up with one of your old juniors at one point in time, but we didn't have it very long.
Could be, I don't know. But and you know, then the next thing is they grow up and they want to drive bigger cars. I mean, I had Rachel in a full-size dragster when she was 15. Couldn't even get an NHRA license because she was not 16 yet. So we throttle stopped it down to run 10 so she could run it when she was 15.
Well, and I mean, I know that a big question between, you know, I mean, obviously a lot of us wants to know is Rachel ever going to drive the Altered, or are you guys going to, I mean, is she ever going to drive again?
She wants to go racing so bad she can taste it.
Right.
The problem is that she is doing she's got an absolutely fabulous career going. She's moving up a career ladder she's got a great job, and she travels a lot, and it's hard. She would like to go top dragster racing. That's what she'd like to do. She'd like to build a top dragster car for herself. But from a time and energy perspective, she can't do it. Yes, I would like to put her in my car, but have you seen Rachel? She's little. She's like really
She's very
little.
tiny. Yeah.
And so I literally do not believe that I could put her in my car safely. So for her to drive my car, I think we would have to have a whole new chassis built that would fit her appropriately.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Lyle, one of the questions that I was going to ask you is the why, which, I mean, obviously you're a seasoned veteran. You've been around our track for a long time, and you've been around drag racing for a long time.
My knees really hurt.
What does it mean to you to be the one that is, I mean, now that Dale's gone, I mean, you know, Dale passed away a couple months ago. I mean, as far as a track historian, I mean, it's kind of sort of, I mean, you were kind of sort of given the job. I mean, you know, as far as the history of Albuquerque Dragway, I mean, you're the one that carries it now. How does that mean, or how do you feel knowing that, you know, like I said, you know, as far as the history of the track, and I know that Dale wrote his book and everything, but I mean, the history of the track is kind of sort of resting in your hands now.
It is, and you know, one of the conversations that Dale and I had many times is Dale asked me to write a follow-up history. I mean, Dale's history, the book Dale wrote was through 1974.
Right.
He wanted me to write a follow-up, and I would love to write a follow-up. I think I could do a good job writing the follow-up, but I don't think I can do that while I'm still racing. I mean, for a guy that's somewhat retired, I have a lot of balls in the air, and one of those balls is not going to be writing a book. So what do? Well, I chip in on the Facebook group when I can. I love the fact that I am blessed with a very good memory. I have kind of almost a photographic memory. And so when people talk about things, often I can just picture the moment in my mind.
Right.
And it's fun. I mean, I'm obviously getting older, and the day that I can no longer remember some of this stuff is going to be very painful.
Right. Yeah. Well, and again, like I said, I mean, obviously it's a heavy, not necessarily a burden, but a heavy crown to wear. But I mean, if it was me, I would wear that crown proudly. You know what I mean? You know, when it comes to history, I mean, that's.
I'm very proud of it. I mean, you know, one of my favorite stories was somebody asked one day on that Facebook group if anybody remembered a certain car, and I didn't remember it. So I didn't say anything. I mean, I had nothing to add to the conversation, so I didn't say anything. And a day or two later, somebody called both Dale Schaefer and I out. They tagged Dale and tagged me. Do you guys remember this car? And so now I have to say, and now I have to admit, I don't remember the car. And Dale had to admit he didn't remember the car. And somebody else chipped in on this conversation. I don't remember who it was, and said, well, you know what? If Dale Schaefer doesn't remember it and Lyle doesn't remember it, it didn't matter.
Right. I mean, yeah, they're not wrong. You know what I mean? So the last thing that they wanted me to ask before we get to some of the, I mean, obviously we've been a little bit over the time limit, but I mean, we're doing pretty well right now. We're having a good time. Kyle, is there a car that you have raced, or that you have owned that you wish you could get back right now? And I mean, obviously you got your dad's Olds 442, and it's all restored and it's absolutely gorgeous. Is there a car that got away that you wish you could get back now?
Nope.
No.
That's the only car that I'm happy I still have, and it would have been a tragedy if that had got away from me. But
Right.
honestly, every other car that I've had since then, they're just cars.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I mean, obviously my baby blue Maverick would be the car that I would always want back, but I don't even know where it's at now. But I mean, if I could get the race car back, I probably would. But it's I'm having
I will say there is one car that I had. I don't really necessarily feel bad that it got away or anything, but there's one car that we had that had great history. The front-engined Econo dragster that my dad and I ran in the 70s. That car had originally been a AA gas dragster in California with the team of Al Weiss and Jimmy Scott. And those guys cleaned house with that car many, many times out on the West Coast. And if I was ever to create a cackle car out of any car that I'd ever had, that would probably be the one.
Is that the car that my dad went with you guys to Denver to race?
That was the car that actually, it was Pueblo, not Denver. But yes, that is the car.
I might know a thing or two about history, Lyle. I pay attention.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Well, and there's another part of that question that you were supposed to ask that kind of folds into that.
And what was that? How did you guys do at the race?
Why?
No. The thing you sent me said, is there a race that you've had that you wish you could go over or got away from you or something like that?
And it would be that race in Pueblo.
It would be that race in Pueblo. That was nearly 50 years ago. That was September of 1976. And your dad was with us, and it was the High Altitude Nationals in Pueblo, Colorado. And that is literally the race that haunts me to this day. We beat a guy named Mike Troxel, who was later to become a top alcohol dragster world champion. We beat Troxel in the first round. We were running comp eliminator, B Econo dragster, and huge upset to beat Troxel because he was kind of a king of the mountain up there.
Right.
And got to the final round, and we were running a guy named Ron Neff. You may be familiar with a guy named Clint Neff, who is currently just a world beater in comp eliminator now. Well, Ron is Clint's dad, and Ron ran a 60 Corvette. I think it was a B altered or something like that. And in the final round, I red lit, and he broke the rear end and didn't even make it to the finish line. And that is the race that, to this day, pisses me off.
Yeah, well, I'm sure if we asked Paul Vineyard the same question that I just asked you about a race that he wishes he could get back, me and Paul are both thinking about the same race. Am I right, Paul?
Is it the Wally race?
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah. Southwest Superchargers. What was that? 3 years ago?
Yeah, lost in the final round to Ricky Esparza by, was it 002,
I think.
002.
And yeah, we got down to the finish line, and neither of us had seen the wind light come on or off. And yeah, we got down there, we were hugging like, man, what a great race. We were wheel to wheel, we had no idea. And it wasn't until, we heard the honking from his tow vehicle. It was like, oh, I guess you got it, man.
Yeah.
Well, but
it was a good time.
But I mean, I obviously wasn't there, but it sounds to me like you did a great job, and there's nothing you could have done different.
I could have got a better reaction time.
I mean, that may or may not have helped. You know what I mean? That might have made it worse. You might have been trip zip butter.
Lyle, you know how it goes. As the driver, you lose. You're finding ways to blame yourself and try and make sure you don't do that again, right?
All the time. I'm my own worst critic, without a doubt.
I don't know, man. When it comes to me and Paul racing, every time he loses, I got lots of ways he could have done something better. I'm his own worst critic.
I got plenty of them, right? But yeah,
let's I don't know, we'll probably jump off here at about 8 o'clock if you guys are okay with that. I do kind of want to get to, obviously we've talked about it time and time again. I mean, we know Paul's feelings towards the debacle that is IHRA and NHRA. I mean, obviously IHRA is making big deals. I know, Lyle, that you've seen some of the stuff that DC's been doing over there with the IHRA and the amount of money he's spending. How do you feel about what IHRA is doing right now, and do you think that over time, is it going to have an effect on the things NHRA is doing, or do you think that, like I said, like Ray said, I mean, it doesn't matter what IHRA does unless you're getting John Forrest and, big names like that to come race in IHRA. I mean, the crowd's not going to follow like they do. And I mean, granted, the Arizona race today there wasn't very many people at the track today, from
It
what
was
I understand.
109 degrees.
Yeah, I was like, I
You
wouldn't
know
want to
what?
be out
And
there.
that may have, and like I said, gas prices. I mean, some of those things obviously play into those roles. As far as all that's concerned. But like I said, do you think that the sustainability of what IHRA is doing right now is sustainable in the long term? And do you think that it's going to have an effect on the future of NHRA?
So
Dun dun
don't know.
dun.
I don't know financially how it will work out. I mean, from a financial viability standpoint, it doesn't seem like it would make any sense at all. The fact of the matter is he's doing it. It's good for the racers.
Right.
IHRA treats the racers great. I mean, I have a lot of friends who've run IHRA races and they are treated like kings.
Right. And these are
I
sportsman
think
racers, not pro racers. Or are
these
they pro
are,
racers?
I'm going to say both,
A little bit of
pro
everything. Okay.
racers
Yeah.
and sportsman racers. And to that extent, it's great. But Paul, you hit on the spectator side of it,
Right.
and I think that's a very valid point. That until some of the NHRA stars come over, that might make it difficult to get good crowd.
Right.
Here's my. I'm in a wait and see mode because May 3rd and 24th is going to tell the tale. And why is that date important? That date is important because that is the first race of the IHRA Triple Crown at Maple Grove Raceway, where
Okay.
he's doubling the purses, and he's put $1 million bonus on anybody who can win all 3 of the Triple Crown races.
So he pulled a page out of the Drag Illustrated book and said, if you can win the World Series of Pro Mod, win all 3 of the Winter Series races, you get X amount of dollars. So he's basically doing the same thing with the IHRA. That's a pretty interesting business move on Daryl Cuddle's part.
Absolutely. And so there's got to be some of the NHRA guys that are sitting there going, $1 million, that'd do a lot for my program.
Yeah,
Maybe
$1 million. That's a. And I mean, there's lots of guys. What are they racing? They're only 8th mile this year, right? The IHRA for the big show guys.
Well, these
or are they
Triple
doing
Crown
1,000
races,
foot?
the Triple Crown races are 1,000 foot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if that hurts NHRA's car count when those races happen. Because, like I said, there's lots of teams that run NHRA that can go out there and, what they're running in NHRA now. I mean, granted, all of those guys have ran with NHRA at some point in time, but you got to be running big numbers to run what Josh Hart and all those guys are running. I mean, they're kicking butt and taking names. You know what I mean?
And that's true, but I would also argue that even this weekend, Jasmine Salinas just earlier today went 3 flat in the 8th mile, which is very, very close to the best anybody's ever run anywhere. I mean, so she's showing that it's not just a bunch of second-tier cars.
Right. Well, and I think Worsham went, what did he run, a 309 in Ennis at Chaos a couple years ago? Something like that?
I don't think it was quite that quick. I don't remember the exact number.
I was thinking it was teens, but yeah.
Yeah, 319 maybe, but not 309.
Maybe it was a 313 or something. I don't know. I think that that was the. But I mean, still, that's definitely scooting. But I mean, Del Worsham's won NHRA championships, and he's over there kicking butt in the IHRA.
Yep. Well, and I don't think anybody would quibble with the idea that IHRA has been a great place for the teams that really are not top half teams in NHRA. There's teams that are not top half teams in NHRA that have a great place in IHRA because the money is good enough and they can be competitive. Now, again, I think this Triple Crown is going to tell the tale. If they get cars for the Triple Crown, that's going to be very, very good for IHRA. if the NHRA guys decide to ignore the Triple Crown or only run one race of the Triple Crown or something like that, then that's not a good sign.
Right, but it also means that, whoever is doing the Triple Crown, and I mean, obviously, Scott's doing what he's doing. He's been successful. Lex has been successful. I mean, there's been quite a few guys. Didn't Patton run one of the IHRA races last year?
Yeah,
Or
Peyton
no?
Peyton ran one. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, and like I said, if it's better for
Hell yeah.
these guys.
I was just about to say, you have any inkling right now, especially that
Ye-
some of the fuel altered stuff going on?
I do.
I mean,
I
you're
have
wildly successful in that fuel alter, Lyle. I mean, come on, man. You won the March meet. You won the inaugural fuel alter chaos. Yeah. I mean,
well, but I'm taking that phenomenally successful car, as you put it, and putting that entire combination on the shelf and changing the combination, hoping to run some IHRA races this year.
okay.
Can we
So
get
are
it?
we?
Is this super secret, top secret changes, or was that to discuss them now?
I mean,
Yeah,
if we
that-
want, I mean, let's just say that the blower looks more like Paul Vineyard than Rachel Greenberg.
Oh,
Fuel pump
The pump
might
is yeah, it's
might be a little
grown.
bigger.
just a little bit bigger, just a tiny bit.
The clutch has another extra couple pieces in it. And,
Is there an extra mag on the car?
no, there is not an extra mag on the car. No.
Come
Drawing the
on.
line there. But there's no more transmission in the car. I lost the transmission somewhere.
Well, hey, you didn't need it anyways.
So is this
Interesting.
like this year type of deal, or are we talking like next year type of deal?
I don't know. We're behind schedule on it. Maybe late in the year. I don't know. We'll see. I will tell you that it has a name, and the name says it all. It is called Project 340.
Okay. Any inkling to what track it's? I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna make the trip, you need to let some people know, because I mean, I'll jump on a plane right now. I want to see it. I want to be there. Like I'm ready.
Well,
Paul, you coming or what?
I was like, I'm in. I'm sold.
We have to we have to finish it. We have to test it. And honestly, there was a hope, fantasy maybe, that we would go to the IHRA Triple Crown race at Maple Grove in May. That's not going to happen. So we'll see.
That's racing, right? We're all behind schedule on our cars right now, especially the season looming on us.
Indeed.
Indeed. It's not.
But I will
behind.
say, I can tell you that there is a freaking big blower sitting on that car right over there.
Well, I like it. Yeah, if you decide that you're going to go to an IHRA race, you need to let us know, because I'm down. I want to come watch. You know what I mean? I'll sit.
All right.
I'll watch the whole thing. I'm excited. That sounds like a great time. And the conversation has gone on between me and Paul a couple times. I mean, we had the conversation earlier that there's a legit top dragster running in top alcohol dragster at the IHRA race. He ran 366 at 206 at the time. After first round, I think he was 5. He may have been bumped out of the show by now. I'm not sure, especially if Jasmine's out there running 3.0s. But I mean, it just goes to show you that, I mean, guys are doing, the payouts are good at IHRA, real good.
So that was a top dragster, though. That wasn't a top alcohol dragster, right?
But he was running in top alcohol
no,
dragster.
he was.
Yeah.
He went 366, which is unbelievably great.
Big block.
I can't
big block
imagine that
Chevy.
he's only. Yeah, I can't imagine he's only 5th in the show, though. If he's 5th in the show, that's.
Well, that was after first round. I mean, Jasmine went 3 in the second round of qualifying.
Well, but that was top fuel. I mean, he's not running top fuel.
But Jasmine's running top fuel?
Yeah.
I thought she was running out. I was about to say, that sounds really fast. Are you sure? Okay, so yeah, he might still be 5th.
Yeah.
She's running her dad's car.
Yeah. Well, yeah, sort of.
Okay. Well, I mean, she drove top alcohol dragster a couple times. I didn't know she was running top fuel. I had no idea. Now I do, though. So thank you for clarifying that, because now I feel stupid.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Lyle, it's 8:02 now. One of the things that, we discuss at the end of every show. I mean, obviously, me and Paul, have talked about our favorite tracks, but lots of people want to know. I mean, road racing and circle track racing aside, you've been to lots of drag strips over your lifetime. What's the pinnacle for you? Like, what's the best drag strip you've ever been to?
So now you narrowed it on me. Crap, I had a 5-minute dissertation for about all sorts of different racetracks. Okay, drag strips. I'm going to say my favorite drag strip to go watch races at is Las Vegas, the strip at Las Vegas.
Good track. Love that place.
My favorite racetrack to run big numbers at is Ennis, and my favorite racetrack, just because it's home, is Albuquerque.
Right. Well, and to be fair, you've run big numbers at quite a few different tracks. In this, you run big numbers at Bandimere. Didn't you run a 5-something out there without a wing on the altered?
83, right? In the cold weather?
Yeah.
I did not. And by the way, I'm sorry, I didn't include Bandimere because it's closed. If Bandimere's part of the story, those
Well, I mean,
might.
it doesn't matter if the track is closed or not. I mean, if you say Green Valley,
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure if I asked my dad, he'd say Green Valley or something like that.
Okay.
You know what
All
I
right.
mean?
So I'm changing my answers. Las Vegas is still my favorite track to go watch a race at, but my favorite track to go down the track at is Bandimere.
Okay.
Yep. And no, we did not go that quick without a wing. We ran the car without a wing the first time we ran it with the fuel altered body, and we
Right.
didn't go in the 5s. It was very clear to me very quickly, about 300 feet down the track, that running without a wing was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And the next time we ran at Bandimere with the wing, we went 583. And then the
Okay.
next time we ran at Bandimere with a wing, we went 566.
Right. What's the fastest? Is that 66 the fastest you've been in the alter trim?
In the quarter mile, yeah.
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. In Alter Trim, the only other places that we've ever gotten to run quarter mile was Bakersfield on a 6 flat index.
Right.
And so I was clicking the thing at 900 feet and running 6 flat at 177 miles an hour or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
So honestly, those deals at Bandimere that's not true. Obviously, we ran quarter mile in Albuquerque too, but we never ran quarter mile in less than 8,000 feet of air, I would guess.
Right. Well, and it's definitely a struggle to race when you're at that kind of altitude. And I feel like, everybody's like, oh, we run it. Hey, it's 4,000 feet up here, and I'm like, it's not the same, dude. It's a struggle for anybody who comes up here to run. But when people from here go run at places like Bandimere, I mean, obviously, it's like, hey, we're used to running that stuff. So I think that having that altitude, or running as long as you have at that altitude and going to a track where you can actually get after it a little bit. I'm not saying you can't get after it in Albuquerque, because obviously you proved that, but I mean, it's Bandimere. Yeah. What did John Forrest call it? He said it's what did John Forrest say? This is mythical shit up here. I think is exactly what he said at the top end. He said this is mythical shit up here. You know what I mean? Mythical, it is. Yeah.
But kind of to the point, you can't get after it in Albuquerque the way you can get after it in Denver. In Denver, I threw everything I had at it. Now, we had to click it early because I had too much gear in the car. And so we went 566 at 233. If I had not clicked it early, it would have gone 256. But it went 370 flat to the 8th mile. 370 flat at like 201 or 202 or something like that. And so in a perfect world, I could port that tune-up right to Albuquerque Dragway and go similar numbers. But Albuquerque Dragway doesn't have the grip that Bandimere did, and so the 591 was pretty dang good. I mean, I'm happier with my tune-up or my tuning ability to go 591 in Albuquerque than to go 566 in Denver.
Right, because it's so much harder. Yeah. Well, and me and Paul have been out that track for 31 years, because me and Paul have known each other for 32 years, Paul? And so we went out there for all of those 32 years, and it took 32 years for somebody to click a sub 6-second pass in Albuquerque. We were standing right next to each other when you ran the 591 and Robert went the 393. So I mean, that was probably one of the coolest weekends I've ever had out there at our track. I mean, granted, all three of us have been at the track, Ennis and North Star Dragway. I mean, we've been to some pretty cool tracks and been around and seen some pretty cool stuff. But I think that that particular race, when all of that went down, was just brought it full circle, because like I said, we were all together, and like I said, it was an absolutely amazing race. It's something that I will never forget. My kids were with me, and
it was one of those I was there when kind of moments where it's like, this is going to be legendary in the Albuquerque folklore, and just to say I was I hope you were there.
I was there too.
Mentally,
And now when I'm like, 50, 60 years old and people start asking me questions about how it was back in the dragway, I don't remember anything, but I do remember one time when me and Paul were, on the start line and Lyle went out there and, clicked the 591 and
Uh,
the
I'm-
place went berserk.
I still go, the rivalry that we have with the blown scentless side with Lyle, where,
Yeah.
that's, hey, we take that old Chevy and we get going, and we had Lyle's number a few times. And I think after that, you laid that one down, it kind of shut us up for a little bit.
Well, I mean, the great thing about Albuquerque in general is it's kind of an equalizer. I mean, the
Yep.
track in Albuquerque is a big equalizer because I can't throw everything at it.
Right. Well, and I've seen people go out there and try to throw everything at it, and it didn't work out very well for them.
And at Lyle's level too,
Either there was a lot of tire smoke or a lot of bent parts.
and it
Yeah.
seems like it's not always at the same spot for you guys. Again, Lyle being at that power level where he's having to focus on everything down the track. At our level, we're like, hey, if I can launch in Albuquerque, we're pretty good. If we can get off the starting line, we're going to have a clean pass. Lyle's, I've seen you smoke the tires at a number of different spots on the run. And so it's just a whole nother level of complexity that you're having to deal with.
Well, and that particular day when Robert ran the 393 and I mean that on that 591 pass, we went 387 on that pass to the 8th. The starting line was exceptional.
Right.
I mean, on that pass, I went 962 to 60 foot, which if you'd asked me if I was going to ever be in the 960s at Albuquerque, I would have told you were smoking dope. I mean, it's just
Hey,
impossible.
shout out to the Albuquerque Dragway track crew and Larry Crisp for coming down with all that dynamite equipment. Like I said, it was,
Absolutely.
those are the kind of events that, dreams, that's how legends get remembered, is races like that. You know what I mean? So,
But to Paul's point, even on that run, I was detuning the car from about 1.3 seconds to about 3.8 seconds. I had the car way calmed down because it wouldn't have made it through the middle.
right. Well, and
No.
that's,
Did Lyle, did you ever talk to Ray about doing that, what I call the Lyle math of, how you had taught us to figure up what a quarter mile pass would have been based on his 395? Remember we had some engine issues around 1,000 foot and had to lift, but did he ever talk to you about what it was on pace to run based on the way you calculate it?
He did.
Because we would have been close to nipping at your heels, not quite, but we suspect it would have been the second 5-second run in Albuquerque. Now, not quite as deep as Lyle got, but
maybe.
Based on that 395, it was.
Even if it's a 5.9999999, it's still,
it's still a 5, but we would still not be the first ones to do it. We'll never be the first ones to do it. So
no, there'll be there.
Honestly, that's a cool thing. And by the way, guys, never forget, I lost that round because it was a 6-flat index race and I broke out. And the truth of the matter is, we had a little team meeting before that final round that consisted of, do we want to win the race or do we want to take a shot at running a 5? And we all agreed that probably they would forget who won the race 2 weeks afterwards, but
They'll
might
never
not
forget
remember
who
who
ran
ran
the
the
5.
first 5.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
No, if it was all about the money, we wouldn't be doing this in the first place.
Right,
So there's some things where you want to go down in the lower.
And honestly, it wouldn't have even been about the money. It would have been the fact that I just don't like to lose.
If you're going to lose, that's the best way to lose.
It absolutely was. I mean, it was actually pretty cool. We were running Kevin Knowles, and Kevin struck the tire out in the middle and shut off. And we got down there in, and I knew it was a pretty decent run, but it had dropped a cylinder. I mean, it dropped a cylinder pretty early on that run.
Right.
And so I wasn't completely sure. And I asked Kevin down there at the end of the track, I said, well, did you see the scoreboard? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, what did it have? And he says, I don't know. He wanted to wait. He wanted to keep me in suspense till the crew got down there.
Right. He wanted, it just added to the excitement. Real quick, Lyle, like I said, we're going to be finishing up here in just a couple minutes. What's your schedule look like this year? I mean, are you racing? Or I know Robert's got some stuff going down. Funny Car Fever, I think is what he called it. And I know that Roswell's putting together a funny car deal. Are you going to be involved in either one of those? Or are you going to, I know you're probably going to be involved with the Fuel Ultra deal, right?
I am not going to be involved in the funny car race in Albuquerque July 4th weekend because I will be in Indianapolis at Indianapolis Motor Speedway racing quarter midgets with the grandkids.
Oh yeah, the Connor,
Priorities.
both of them
Priorities.
boys are
Gotta have
both of
priorities.
them boys are killing it. They definitely got that Greenberg blood.
And let's not
And
overlook the Guthrie blood too. I mean, they
Yeah,
got it
yeah.
going everywhere.
Heck, Grandpa's an IndyCar driver. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they've got it going for sure. But I mean, just as a little sidebar, both of the kids are in the top. Well, one kid is in the top 5 in national points in one class,
Wow.
and 10th in another. No, 9th in another class, and then one kid is 7th and 11th in national
Wow.
points right now.
Wow.
So yeah,
Impressive.
they're doing good. But
Yeah.
back to the question at hand. I will not be running the Roswell race. I am trying my best to put together the fuel altered race for Labor Day.
Okay.
I've got some challenges on that, and I can't tell you exactly what my schedule is.
All right.
And not because I won't tell you, it's because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you need to keep everybody in the blown scentless warlord camp up to date. You know, like I said, if you plan on running an IHRA race this year, we would absolutely love to come support you. I think it would be great. So
This year, next year, whenever you get that car
like I
ready.
said, if you're going, like I said, we're loading up the RV and we're coming with you. It's gonna happen.
Well, it'll be cool because, I mean, honestly, my mindset is 340s or bust.
Yeah, I think that you said the name earlier, so I immediately knew that's what the plan is. But yeah, like I said, my name is Paul, and that's Paul Vineyard, and that is the legend Lyle Greenberg, and this has been the Starting Line Society. We appreciate everybody watching, and you know, like I said, you know how we do it. We don't know what's going on next Thursday or Friday. We're going to Bounty Hunters to honor Scott, and so we're trying to put something small together for that Friday. But the week after that, we are going to have Mark Mickey and Brian Lewis on to talk about M&M Transmissions and the Grumpy Chew program, Funny Car Chaos, and we are going to be live Saturday at Funny Car Chaos. We'll talk more about that next week, but we're going to do a live stream from the staging lanes underneath the tower in Ennis. Me and Corey are going to go live, and we're going to have some cool driver interviews, see if we can't get Kevin or just a couple other guys to come on the podcast and just kind of shoot the shit for a while. So.
Well, and I won't be racing in Ennis, but I'm certainly planning to come to hang out with people.
Well, we're hoping to debut the Warlord Dragster with some new stuff, but like I said, that's still up in the air right now. We'll see what happens. Lyle, I appreciate you. You better get some sleep because we got a long weekend ahead of us. But yeah, this has been the Starting Line Society. We'll see you guys later. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.